French history is steeped in mysteries, but none are as fascinating as the story of the Man in the Iron Mask, a figure whose life has been shrouded in secrecy, intrigue, and speculation for centuries. But who was this prisoner, whose identity was concealed by a mask and kept under strict secrecy? This question has puzzled writers, historians, and the public ever since the reign of Louis XIV, the Sun King, in 17th century France. His confinement is known to have taken place in several prisons, including the Bastille, under the strict surveillance of governors loyal to the king. But his identity remains an enigma, spawning multiple theories. He may have been a disgraced nobleman, a twin of the king, or even a servant who knew too much. Based on historical records and literary interpretations, the Man in the Iron Mask went on to become an iconic character, immortalized in works such as those by Voltaire and Alexandre Dumas. But his story goes beyond myth. It unveils the complex political intrigues of the French court, the Bourbon dynasty's secrets, and the symbolic power that an unknown figure can wield in the collective imagination. We will explore the many distinct aspects of this mysterious story, from theories about the prisoner's identity to the cultural impact he continues to exert. Come and join this in-depth inquiry to uncover the secrets of the Man in the Iron Mask, one of history's most enigmatic figures. Louis XIV's reign was one of the most significant periods in French history, characterized by absolutism, luxury, and the centralization of power. Known as the Sun King, Louis XIV ruled for more than 70 years, entrenching the monarchy as a supreme institution and turning France into Europe's cultural and political epicenter. The state achieved unprecedented control over society under his reign, and any threat to his authority was handled with the highest degree of severity. The secret prison system was one of the tools the regime used to deal with dissidents and keep its secrets. Prisons such as Pinerolo and the Bastille were not just imprisonment facilities in 17th century France, but political instruments. These places made sure that state enemies or those who knew too much were kept away from the public and potential allies. The secrecy around certain prisoners reinforced the idea of the king's unquestionable and absolute power. Political secrecy and extreme isolation reflected the tensions and intrigues of the French court, where alliances and betrayals were rife. The secret prison system helped to keep political stability, but it also led to fear and speculation, fostering legends such as that of the Man in the Iron Mask. Over the centuries, the identity of the Man in the Iron Mask has sparked various theories. One of the best-known theories is the possibility that he was Louis XIV's twin brother, an idea put forward by Voltaire and later explored by Alexandre Dumas. This theory holds that the presence of a twin would have represented a direct threat to the legitimacy of the throne, hence the extreme secrecy surrounding the prisoner. A different scenario suggests that the Man in the Iron Mask could have been Nicolas Fouquet, Louis XIV's once powerful financial officer. Fouquet fell from grace after being charged with embezzling funds from the royal treasury and was allegedly kept under strict surveillance to prevent him from disclosing compromising secrets about the kingdom's administration. Historical records indicate, however, that Fouquet died before the masked prisoner appeared in the Bastille, watering down this theory. Eustace Dower, a valet who had learned sensitive information involving the French court or government, is a third possibility. While he was not a high-ranking figure, his capture and the secrecy surrounding his incarceration may have been prompted by the fear that he would leak secrets that would compromise influential figures of the time. Other theories point to the involvement of diplomats, foreign nobles, or even clergy. The common element in all these cases is the recognition that the secrecy around the prisoner's identity served not only to protect him, but also to protect the power and reputation of Louis XIV's absolutist regime. Notwithstanding the endless speculation and rumors surrounding the Man in the Iron Mask, some specific historical evidence helps to shape the reality surrounding this enigmatic prisoner. Historical records indicate that the Man in the Iron Mask was handled with an unusual amount of strictness and respect by the standards of the time. He received quality meals and adequate clothing during his incarceration, indicating that his physical well-being was a high priority. His total seclusion, however, underlined the importance of keeping his identity a secret. Explicit orders banned any unauthorized interaction with the prisoner, and the jailers were ordered to treat him with absolute discretion, communicating only when strictly necessary. The governor responsible for his initial custody, Saint-Mars, was a reliable official of the regime, and his painstaking supervision of the prisoner confirmed the gravity of the situation. Transferring the prisoner between locations, always under heavy escort and with the mask as a requirement, illustrates the state's efforts to thwart any chance of escape or recognition. This thorough attention to secrecy reflects the government's concern to shield potentially explosive or compromising information for the monarchy. Among the most significant records is the diary of Etienne de Junca, the king's lieutenant at the Bastille. In September 1698, he wrote down the arrival of a prisoner who had been transferred from Sainte Marguerite under Saint-Mars's escort. Other documents refer to the name Eustace d'Auger, mentioned in correspondence from senior officials of the kingdom, including Louis, the Minister of War. Louvous's letters express a concern to keep the captive isolated and in absolute secrecy, even forbidding other prisoners to speak to him. Such strict orders suggest that d'Auger knew something that made him a danger to the regime, although the exact nature of this secret remains unclear. Bastille financial records, on the other hand, reveal heavy costs for the upkeep of this one prisoner. This is in stark contrast to the treatment of other inmates and reinforces the idea that he was a unique threat. The evidence also contains accounts from guards and administrators, who describe the prisoner as well-treated but constantly isolated. Although the mask is often associated with iron, it was probably black velvet, as described in some documents, which suggests that the iron may have been a later poetic interpretation or furlough. The Man in the Iron Mask died in November 1703, while he was imprisoned in the Bastille. Records show that he was buried under the alias Marchioli in the St. Paul Cemetery. His passing was treated with the same discretion that marked his life as a prisoner. All his belongings, including the furniture and clothes that could bear traces of his identity, were destroyed, a final effort to erase any clues as to who he really was. But despite these efforts, his death did not solve the mystery. On the contrary, his life and death kept fanning speculation and theories for centuries, turning him into a legendary figure who triumphed over the limits of recorded history. These clues aside, many details are still unclear. The absence of direct records about the reasons for his arrest or his true identity nourishes the mystery and leaves room for the multiple theories that have cropped up over the centuries. One of the leading philosophers and writers of the Enlightenment, Voltaire, was crucial in spreading the myth of the Man in the Iron Mask. In his 1751 work, The Age of Louis XIV, Voltaire uncovered information about a mysterious masked prisoner, suggesting that his identity was one of the greatest secrets of Louis XIV's reign. He claimed that the captive was an incredibly important man, suggesting a direct connection to the monarchy. While Voltaire did not present concrete evidence for his allegations, his words had a far-reaching influence on the public perception of the case. He suggested that the prisoner could have been a twin brother of Louis XIV, stirring up speculation that echoed for centuries. His skills in blending historical facts with dramatic narratives helped establish the myth in popular culture. Voltaire's interest in the affair also mirrored his skepticism about absolutism and the centralization of power. He saw the mystery of the Man in the Iron Mask as a metaphor for the oppression and state secrets that characterized the Ancien Regime. His approach to the case, rather than trying to find answers, intended to criticize the political system and bring the public into a discussion about transparency and justice. With Voltaire's work, the Man in the Iron Mask was no longer just a historical enigma and went on to become a cultural icon. While Voltaire brought the Man in the Iron Mask to the forefront of public attention, it was Alexandre Dumas who made the myth into a worldwide legend. In his novel, The Vicomte de Bragelonne, published in the middle of the 19th century, Dumas spent a considerable part of the narrative on the masked prisoner, intertwining him with the heroes of the Three Musketeers. The Man in the Iron Mask in Dumas's version is portrayed as Philippe, Louis XIV's identical twin brother. To uphold the authority of the Sun King, Philippe is imprisoned and forced to wear a mask to hide his identity. This romantic and tragic interpretation grabbed the imagination of readers and cemented the idea of a royal and noble prisoner, wrongfully imprisoned for political reasons. Dumas explored themes such as loyalty, betrayal, and the sacrifices imposed by absolute power. By humanizing the prisoner and presenting him in opposition to the authoritarian Louis XIV, he developed a moving drama that struck a chord with the public of the time and still fascinates readers and spectators today. Dumas's version has since been adapted numerous times for theater, film, and television, carrying on the legacy of the Man in the Iron Mask. Films such as 1998's The Man in the Iron Mask, which Leonardo DiCaprio starred in, were loosely based on Dumas's interpretation, combining fiction and history to create a gripping narrative. Dumas's version is far from historically accurate, but it nevertheless played a vital role in transforming the Man in the Iron Mask into a global cultural icon. His novelistic approach reinforced the mystery and attraction surrounding the prisoner, ensuring that his story would be told and retold for many generations.